If at any point in this video there's some background noise or anything crazy like that, it's just because there's a huge storm coming. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do when you get your WestCoastSaws unifilter is you're going to have to oil it first before you just go ahead and throw it on your saw. Otherwise it's not going to be catching quite as much debris as usual. So what you're going to want to do, my preferred way, is go ahead and get your unifilter and then just start by taking off this hose clamp right here. It's going to be an 8mm socket, and on most of the steel saws you'll have to take a part off. It's also going to be 8mm. I just got a Craftsman one on this wrench right here. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get some sort of dish, something that'll work to put some oil in. And I would definitely not recommend using spray oil. I would 100% say go with something more like this. This is let's see if we can get a focus here. Plain unifilter foam filter oil, and it's great stuff. It's sticky stuff. It's really tacky, so it'll make sure your saw's getting all that stuff and it's not getting in the carburetor. So just go ahead and peel your cap off and get her in there. And we're probably going to want to use a good amount. I believe there's another method that works really good, and also I'd recommend using some sort of gloves. I'm actually using some pink dishwashing gloves here, as you'll see in a second. I'm just getting them on right now. But this oil's pretty gross, so I wouldn't recommend getting it all over you, and you're gonna have to sponge this thing out. So just want to go ahead and really make sure it's getting all that oil. I like to rotate it, hit the start here. Just really make sure it's sucking up all that good sticky oil. Looks kind of like honey now that I look at it. Just make sure it's nice and saturated there. You know, I've seen a lot of ways to clean it too, and people have been doing it in gasoline, but personally I just recommend the spray oil filter cleaner. The spray cleaner works pretty good, but I don't recommend for these filters using the spray oil on it, simply because you're just not going to be getting the right amount of penetration that you really want. And you're just going to go ahead and squeeze all that excess oil out. It's going to be pretty messy, but you want your filter to be working peak capacity, of course. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks like a sufficiently oiled filter. So it's kind of what our end result's going to look like here. And you know what? It's pretty funny. I actually didn't bring something to wipe down the little manifold that goes on and puts it to your saw. So I guess I'm going to wipe this on my chainsaw chaps, because I got nothing else in here. Alright, making a big mess of my chaps. All the wood chips can stick to me now. And that's still a good oil, but you can see it really took a lot of that oil out of the container. And I do see I spilt a bit. Alright, so we have another part that we're going to have to do before we can just pop that unifilter on. And this part's not too tricky. It's really quite simple. Let's see if I can get the camera set up in a good position to show everyone. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do here when you put your unifilter on is you're going to want to pop off your hood cover, your air filter cover of your saw. I'm putting mine here on the 462. Alright, you're just going to pop that off. Pop off your stock filter. You can see mine's a little bit dirty, but I'm pretty anal about keeping these things clean here. So the next thing you're going to want to do is get your 8mm deep socket. Make sure you're ready to take whatever it is in here off. You just want to get in there. There's 2 nuts. Feels like I got the first one. Go in for the second one here. And then after you do that, oh, didn't do it all the way. That's deep. I didn't realize that. Now this is very important. Once you get that off, there's still going to be the 2 nuts in there. Go ahead and pop those out, and you're going to want to install those all the way back on. Otherwise this whole flange here is going to come right off. So once you get that on, now you're going to want to put this in a safe spot. It's in the part with all the other parts for this saw, or in the bag there rather, sorry about that. My hands are also really oily from that oil. There we go. As you can see, it's like spider webs. But then once you got that done, just go ahead, find the nut to the hose clamp,